Hello, everyone, and welcome to RiseTales. Have you ever looked at someone and wondered what makes them shine so brightly? Do they possess a secret spark that we haven't yet discovered? Or could it be that each of us holds a unique brilliance just waiting to be found? Today, we're going to share a truly inspiring story, a story about the journey to find one's own distinct light and how true passion can transform an ordinary young person into someone truly extraordinary. Stay with us to the very end. You might just discover something wonderful about yourself. A young boy's ponderings. Once upon a time, in a small, peaceful town, there lived a family in a quiet corner. This family had a 12-year-old boy named Marcus, who was in the 6th grade. Marcus was an energetic kid who loved playing outdoors, and his favorite activity was playing soccer. Almost every day, Marcus would head out to the nearby public field where he honed his skills. One afternoon after coming home from school, Marcus slumped onto the couch looking deep in thought. He opened a school book, stared at it for a moment, and then leaned back into the soft cushions with a dissatisfied look on his face. His father, who had just come in from the backyard, noticed this unusual behavior and walked over to his son. Sitting beside Marcus, he asked what was bothering him. Marcus explained that he had received a poor grade in math, but that wasn't what was truly upsetting him. He shared that his close friend and neighbor Leo always seemed to score high in math. No matter how hard Marcus tried, he just couldn't seem to do as well. Hearing this, Marcus's father went to get a glass of water to calm his son. Once Marcus had relaxed a bit, his father took him outside to their small backyard garden, which was filled with shady trees in a peaceful atmosphere. Marcus, his father began, I want you to understand 3 important lessons from what happened today. These are lessons that will guide you as you grow older. Marcus, who deeply respected his father, was a bit confused but intrigued. Can you explain those lessons, Dad? He asked. You will learn each lesson one by one through a challenge I will give you, his father replied with a gentle smile. After a brief pause, his father continued. For the first lesson, I want you to invite Leo to play soccer with you tomorrow. Marcus nodded, eager to find out what lesson his father had in mind. The next morning, the weather was bright and welcoming, and Marcus went to school with his usual excitement. That afternoon after school, he invited Leo to join him for a soccer game at the nearby field. As usual, Marcus, who played soccer almost every day, dominated the match. He scored 3 goals, leading his team to a big victory. Meanwhile, Leo, who wasn't very familiar with soccer, struggled. He often lost the ball and made several mistakes. Despite this, everyone who played that day had a great time. Afterward, Marcus cleaned up and hurried to meet his father in the backyard. Dad, I played soccer with Leo today. What's the first lesson you want to teach me? His father smiled knowingly and said, Tell me how the game went. Marcus described everything, from his 3 goals to how Leo wasn't very good at soccer. His father nodded and said, Look at this, David. Leo may not be good at soccer, but he's great at math. Just like how you might struggle with math, but excel at soccer. We're all different, and that's okay. We each have our own strengths and passions. Marcus felt a wave of understanding wash over him. He realized that people are different and don't have to be the same. But curious as always, he immediately asked about the second lesson. Discovering joy, awakening potential. For the second lesson, his father said, I want you to pay close attention to Leo tomorrow at school. Keep track of how often you see him counting or working with numbers. The following day, Marcus eagerly went to school, excited to complete his father's challenge. Throughout the day, he quietly observed Leo, noticing how often he was engaged in math-related tasks. After school, Marcus passed the time playing soccer again until his father returned home. That evening, Marcus approached his father and reported his findings. Dad, Leo was counting a lot today. He was working on math problems, solving puzzles, even calculating things like change during recess. And he even counted the petals on a flower. His father smiled warmly and said, That's the second lesson, Marcus. Leo is good at math because he enjoys it and practices it often. If you want to get better at something, you have to keep practicing, just like you do with soccer. It doesn't always have to be difficult. You can start with simple things, like counting petals on a flower. Marcus smiled, realizing that he could improve in anything, as long as he practiced consistently, just like he had with soccer. Without waiting, Marcus eagerly asked about the third and final lesson. His father thought for a moment and said, "For the last lesson, I want you to think about how much better Leo is at math compared to you." Marcus paused for a second, then hesitantly replied, "I think Leo is about 3 times better at math than I am." "All right," his father said. "For the last challenge, I want you to study math 3 times harder tomorrow." Marcus swallowed nervously, but nodded, determined to tackle the final challenge. The next day after school, Marcus sat down to study math. After an hour of intense focus, he decided to push through and study for 2 more hours, tripling his usual effort. But before he could finish, his head started to throb, and without realizing it, he fell asleep. Later, he was gently woken up by his father's soft tap. "Wake up for dinner and meet me in the garden afterward," his father said. Feeling disappointed in himself, Marcus met his father. His head hung low. "I'm sorry, Dad," Marcus said. "I couldn't complete the challenge. I studied so much that my head hurt, and I ended up falling asleep." His father gently patted Marcus's head and said, "Marcus, this is what happens. When you try to master something you don't enjoy, it's hard to stay disciplined and consistent. But when you study something you love, discipline and consistency feel much lighter, just like how you stay dedicated to playing soccer." After a brief silence, his father gave him the final piece of advice. "So, if you want to be knowledgeable and become an expert at something, either you should study what you love or you should learn to love what you're studying." Marcus, filled with admiration for his father's wisdom, promised to carry these 3 important lessons with him for the rest of his life. The light within. You see, Marcus's story isn't just about finding what you're good at. It's also about discovering where joy meets effort. It's when we find what we truly love or learn to love what we're doing that perseverance becomes effortless. Remember this, each of us holds a hidden talent, a passion waiting to be awakened. Sometimes it's not in what we think we should do, but in what makes our hearts resonate and ignite. So what about you? Where is your unique light? And will you start to kindle it today? Let this story be a gentle reminder that the journey of self-discovery is one of life's most valuable adventures. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in our next stories on the journey of self-discovery and growth.